Hey there, it's your friend Ryan Reed with Read and Read. I'll get you right back to your favorite podcast, but quickly, I want you to know if you're injured in a car accident, slip and fall, or through medical malpractice, you can count on Read and Read to be here when you call. You'll speak to me, my wife, or my dad directly on the phone, or you can meet us in person or on Zoom for a free consultation. Visit needread.com today for more information. And remember, with Read and Read, it's like having a lawyer in the family. Needread.com. Offices, Tampa Bay.
Blog Talk Radio.
Now, what's that smell? Just like cornbread done too well. What you need, you know I got. Good evening, Metal Faithful. This is the Radulich Broadcasting Network's presentation of the Metal Hammer of Doom. I am your host, the mandated reporter, and frankly, I'm mortified, Mr. Mark Radulich. Tonight, we are reviewing the latest from thrash pioneers Anthrax, For All Kings. It came out, I believe, last Friday. If I'm correct about that. It came out last Friday, February 26th. It's a great album. We're going to break it down tonight. I am joined by my co-host, Mr. Robert Cooper, the Metal Coop. How you doing, sir?
Good day. It would have also been a day to metal. Lots of metal.
Just bathe in the metal, tune out everything else in the world.
That's right. I think bathe in the metal. Nothing says a good clean time like sweat, blood, and the metal horns, because that's what my mama told me.
Well, I have to say, we always we review albums. That's very true. But we also try to talk about what's going on in the world with music when a topic strikes our fancy. And Mr. Cooper, you know me, I'm all about the digital. I don't like the physical. I was convinced to try Apple Music. Now, the reason why, I don't know if you know about Apple Music, but Apple Music basically is the Apple version of Spotify. You pay a set fee, you have access to all the music in their library. Well, I went to Spotify, and I don't know if they've updated their servers at all, but last time I checked, which was when the album came out, there was no Anthrax For All Kings. Was not on Spotify. I don't know if it's reappeared since then, but I checked for a couple of days, and there was no For All Kings. Went on YouTube, same thing. The whole album hadn't been uploaded just yet. I'm sure it has by now. But
No?
No,
I have not been able to find any songs that weren't uploaded by the official page of the band or label. I think they're keeping quite a hold on this.
Well, that being the case, so I said, okay, well, I initially resisted the whole Apple Music thing because Spotify's been good to me. Most of the time I need an album, it's there. But there was no Anthrax, and I said, well, I said I would try Apple Music the day I found out that Spotify didn't have the album that I was looking for. And this is not the first time this has happened. I believe the Five Finger Death Punch, something you're six, show your six, roll your six, 516, whatever the name of the album was. The last Five Finger Death Punch was not on Spotify. They had a single, but it took them a while before the entire album was released. And then there was another one that I was struggling with. Oh, The New Clutch. Now, The New Clutch I can't find anywhere. The New Clutch, it was on YouTube. That's how I ended up listening to it. But yeah, not on Spotify and not on Apple Music. So I don't know what Clutch is doing there. But I said if Spotify didn't have what I was looking for, I was going to switch over to Apple Music. And so far, I've liked Apple Music. I put it on the television in my house, and I clean my house, and it gives me a nice little soundtrack to work with. Keeps me motivated and pumped up. You know what I mean? So today I was listening to For All Kings, getting ready for this show. I listened to the new Bloodhound Gang album. That was fun. And then because this Tuesday, my wife and I are reviewing Sister Hazel's new album, which they went full-on country. I listened to that as well. So I had a nice eclectic thing going on with the Apple Music. I don't know what I'm going to do, though, in 3 months when I have to make a hard decision here. Should I keep with Spotify or should I keep with Apple Music? Decisions, Mr. Cooper. Decisions.
Well, you see, you can be like me, who has to make the hard decision of do I buy this CD or not, because it seems still so ironic that considering our generational gap, that we are complete opposites of what the stereotypes be. Considering the past 2 weeks, I'll say in the past 2 weeks, I went to a local CD shop because the elementary school I'm placed at is actually right there at the Haynesville area of Winston-Salem, which if anybody knows Winston-Salem, which is like all five of you that might ever listen to this podcast, that's where like they've got like the mall, there's like a Toys R Us, there's like a CD place right there, there's a used bookstore not far away. And I go there, and every time I go to one of these places, it's like fucking $30. I got Heaven and Hell. I don't know if you listened to that album. It was Ronnie James Dio, Black Sabbath, but they didn't call themselves Black Sabbath. It was really good.
I remember.
And then I bought it.
I listened to it when it came out. Don't ask me what I remember about it other than that existed.
It was pretty good. And then, actually, in a surprise, because they've dropped their fucking metal, their metal selection has dropped down to abysmal levels. I actually bought an album by Porcupine Tree. Have you ever heard of them?
No.
They're a British like prog rock band. Steve Wilson is the guy who runs it, and he's metal-wise. He's done some productions for Orphan Land, and he was actually in a few Opeth songs. Bleak off of Blackwater Park. He does the clean vocals in the towards the middle, but that album's actually kind of metal. It's called Deadwing, and it's pretty cool. There's like a 13-minute long song that just absolutely hurts my socks. But yeah, over the past 2 months, the past month, I've bought CDs, Japanese comic books, and DVDs. That's right, boys and girls. While everybody else is going digital, Mr. Cooper is buying more things that he does not have the storage for. But
let me just say this. Let me just say this. As far as buying anything physical, when you have kids, let me lay it down on the line for you, okay? Let me school you a bit. When you have a wife and kids, especially the kids part, well, unless you have a huge house and you've got plenty of storage space, if you have an average-sized house, you're going to find the same problem that I have, which is there's no room for anything anymore, okay? Between kids' toys, clothing, and just regular family stuff, you find that your house, you just like George Carlin once said, a house is just a place to store all your shit. And I almost had a meltdown today trying to put away laundry, thinking, I called my wife and I said, would you forgive me if I took all of your clothing out of the closet and threw it in the street and set it on fire? Now, the funny thing was, she was like, yeah, that's no problem. She's right there with me. We have too much stuff. So no, Robert Cooper, no, sir. I will not be going to the store to buy any albums. At the moment, what little was left of my collection is sitting under my daughter's bed because I had no place else to put it.
Oh, God. How does that girl ever, quote, unquote, clean her room? See, I don't. The funny thing is that is I don't have my own iPod. The closest thing I have is my mom's. That she blames me for the fact she doesn't listen to it because I took her headphones about 5 years ago. She never got another pair. But I've been taking that and just listening to podcasts while I drive. But with that being said, I don't have to worry about deciding between Spotify and Apple Music while I drive because I have a CD booklet. Don't you love it? I've got all of 50 albums to choose from.
That sounds like crazy talk to me. All right, and speaking of crazy talk, enough of that. So we have this new, the 11th studio album by American thrash metal band Anthrax. My goodness, they have been around for, they were part of the Big Four, you know? It was Slayer, Anthrax, Megadeth, and Metallica. And they're still out there doing their thing. And I'll tell you what, since Joey Belladonna has come back in the band, they have definitely readopted their old sound. Because for a while there, with good old John Bush, they went in a completely different musical direction and kind of abandoned their early thrash roots. Well, they were trying for more modern rock, modern heavy metal sound, which was fun and it was successful. I mean, the Sound of White Noise is still one of my favorite albums of all time. However, it was not to last, and Joey Belladonna rejoined the group, much to a lot of people's elation. People really like Joey Belladonna. They like the old school thrash sound for Anthrax. And, they're doing what they know now. They're doing what they've been successful with. They're not experimenting, like they did with Stomp 442, whatever the hell the name of the album was. So just an overall thought when I first listened to For All Kings, I said, oh, this kind of reminds me of the last Metallica album in that, not that it sounds like it, more of my thought of the last Metallica album was, hey, this sounds like what Metallica used to sound like before the Black Album. And I kind of had the same thought with For All Kings. I said, this sounds like it could have followed whatever the last Anthrax album was before the Sound of White Noise. That whole period has disappeared. Yeah, I think it was Persistence in Time. So I think For All Kings falls really nicely into the Anthrax catalog of that old school Joey Belladonna sound. What was your first impression of it?
Well, I first have to ask, you listen to worship music, right?
Yes.
Okay. I felt like this was a better representation of the old school Anthrax sound, mainly because the guitar tone was very close to what they did on a lot of the stuff, on a lot of things like Spreading the Disease. It kind of had that more of a, I would say more in the higher register of the guitar, rather than kind of the lower, just heavier sound that they had on well, there's a few songs here, but on worship music, there was a much heavier sound to the guitar. That's how I felt. And this album actually, when I first listened to it, especially songs like Evil Twin, I was like, it was good. And then the more I thought about it, I'm like, you know what? This is actually what they used to do anyways. I just think their style of thrash is something that was kind of unique for the era because, while yes, they were fast, I felt like production-wise they weren't nearly as focused on being as heavy and bombastic as bands like Metallica or Slayer.
But really those overall, Dave Mustaine had a very distinct voice, but I wouldn't call what he was doing singing. Hello, me.
No, have you ever heard him sing? Listen to Risk. I don't know if you remember Wanderlust. I was telling my buddy Nick, I'm like, there's some songs I liked. Like what? I'm like, Ecstasy. He's like, ugh. Wanderlust was good. He goes, oh, shut up. Wanderlust was horrible. I'm like, I don't mind. He says, it sounds like Dave Mustaine put a cat in a bag and threw it at a wall. I'm like, yeah. But and then one of those.
And then there's James Hetfield. Yeah. So they're not really, they're not really as such. They are yelling, they are screaming, they're doing what one might call singing, but it's not really, these are not very clear vocals that they're using. And James Hetfield sort of growls into the microphone. Dave Mustaine, hello, me, and then, of course, you have, Slayer. And
Tom Araya just yell.
Yes, just screaming at the top of his lungs, which is all great. So, Joey Belladonna really stood out among the big four as being a guy who could actually carry a tune.
Yeah, he was, I would say definitely among the four. That's what makes, I feel like Anthrax is really an odd outlier. And some people actually, I've seen some people bitch about them being in the big four just because stylistically, really everything about Anthrax was a lot different than the other three bands. And I think they should be in the big four because really the other bands you could put in there weren't nearly as significant culturally. But
who? The next two on the tier are Overkill and Testament, and I don't think they had as much cultural significance as Anthrax.
Well, there's one. Well, and Exodus. Can't forget about Exodus. Yeah. Well, Exodus actually. I don't know if you ever seen the documentary Get Thrashed.
No.
It's really good. I think you'd enjoy it. It's the former drummer of Overkill, Rat Skates is his name. I love that name. It was him and I think some other guys, but they did a documentary on just the story of thrash metal. And the interesting thing was there's like an hour of extra footage where they just talked to bands like Hyrax. That's where I discovered them. Hyrax are pretty cool. But they just cover all sorts of the smaller thrash bands from around. But watching that, you get to really see how big of an influence Exodus and Paul Bailoff, their vocalists, had on the metal scene of that LA and San Francisco sort of area. Actually, yeah, it was San Francisco. And it's really interesting. It put them in a new light for me, I felt. Actually, I watched that DVD from Netflix back when Netflix had DVDs. Because my parents never actually switched to the streaming. They just got rid of Netflix. I know, it's just the best. But Anthrax, I would feel they are the most significant outside of those, Megadeth, Slayer, and Metallica, which I would definitely say, in terms of sales, they are definitely the biggest three. Because hell, all three of them almost. Metallica's got number one album. Megadeth had a number two, because fucking Billy Ray Cyrus, bastard. And then Slayer in recent years have kind of gotten up to that point. And then you have Anthrax, which is pulling right behind. And this album here, For All Kings, it kind of snuck up on me. I admit I've been a bad metalhead, because sometimes I kind of forget things come out, or I'll just find out about them at the last second. This is one of those albums I was like, oh shit, Anthrax is making a new album. Huh. All right. And listening to Evil Twin, I was like, yeah, it was okay. It was catchy. And then Breathing Lightning was catchy. And now I keep finding myself humming these songs all day. So I'm starting to think that perhaps that they have done their job here, because the music on this album is very interesting, as well as catchy, but it's odd to a degree as well. There are some odd transition choices here where I'm like, huh. Especially the instrumentals, which I did not actually buy this album to upload. Ahem. But the weird thing is the two instrumental tracks are just tacked on with two other tracks. So it just felt so weird. I'm like, why do we have a musical interlude here? Oh, that's right.
All right, so let's jump both feet into the pool here. Speaking of musical interludes, we have an introduction here with Impaled, and that jumps right into You Gotta Believe. So we'll hear all of Impaled because that's how you did this. We'll jump into a little bit of You Gotta Believe. All right, so here we go. Track 1.5, track 1s and 2s, depending on how you look at it. Huh?
I said, where's Pumbaa?
All right, Impaled / You Gotta Believe. You got to believe, Robert Cooper. So, yeah, that really does capture the spirit of the old school Anthrax. I could hear that on any of the, the early Anthrax albums, and it would have fit right in. You wouldn't know, it was done 20, 30, some odd years later. I like it. It's fine. Definitely, like I said, it definitely reminds me of old school Belladonna era Anthrax, and I thought it was a good lead off to the album.
Every time I hear You Gotta Believe, all I can think of is that PS1 game, Parappa the Rappa. I don't know if you ever played that, but the main theme of it is You Gotta Believe, and that is all I hear every time I hear that. But this song, it works, especially with Impaled leading off to it. Anthrax has definitely had a thing with having like that, 1 minute intro song, which, I don't know, I feel like artistically it works, but in terms of adding punch to an album, it does kind of take it away a little. Not to mention it makes it a pain in the ass if you're me and have to skip that first track every time. Yeah, if I'm driving in the car, oh, damn it, now I'm going to change the track. But this song in and of itself, I felt like maybe it lasted a little longer than it should have, maybe by about a minute, but it was still very reminiscent of early, well, I'm not going to say early Belladonna Anthrax, but just Belladonna Anthrax, because technically early Belladonna Anthrax is the Armed and Dangerous EP, but who's counting? Because, side note, there's this guy named King Fowley, and this band called Deceased, and I really like King Fowley. He seems like a nice guy. His Deceased is an awesome band. When they come out with a new album someday, we're going to have to review it. But it's funny because he loves 80s metal. The dude's an encyclopedia, but he also loves the Go-Go's, the Bangles, and No Doubt. Like, that's his shit. But every time he talks about Anthrax, he's like, they were shit after the first album. And I'm thinking, the first album, Fistful of Metal? Okay. And then he told a story about how he bought Killing Is My Business and Killing Is My Business by Megadeth and returned it the same day because it was shit. And I'm like, huh.
Maybe you should stop listening to music.
Yeah, well, the funny thing is he's the person who brought up the point about Pantera. He goes, you know what, fuck those guys. They turned their back on who they were. They tried to bury their glam metal stuff like a bunch of bitches. And I was like, King seems to be a little full of himself some days, but that's a good point. But
is it really?
I think, honestly, I feel like if you made the music and it's quality, I think it could be pretty good. Like Power Metal by Pantera is an awesome album. That was Phil Anselmo before he started doing tons of drugs and sounding like a didgeridoo when he talked. And they kind of just buried that because I didn't even know there were albums before Cowboys from Hell. And I actually remember once when I was writing for 411, which, someday it's coming back, just you watch. God, I really do miss writing that column. But I did a top 5 albums need to be re-released, and I put that right at number 3. And somebody was like, "Oh shit, I didn't even know that album existed." And so the other one that I remembered that everybody were like, "Holy shit, this is awesome!" This band called Black Death, which is my favorite joke ever in metal because it's a metal band of all black guys, and the album cover is them in leather and studs and everything, with tongues out and the horns. And it looks so cheesy and goofy. But every time somebody asks what's my favorite black metal band, that's what I post. I'm like, Black Death, and they're like, "Holy shit, this is awesome." I'm like, right? Even though not even the genre, but I love it. Yeah, this song overall, I think it's a pretty good song. I don't know if it blows my socks off like Hell on Earth, or I think was it Hell on Earth that's the first track off of Worship Music? Or was it Earth is on Hell? I think it was Earth is on Hell. I don't fucking know. But all I know is that I don't think it blew me away as much as the first track off that last album, but still, really well done.
Okay. We're going to move things right along here. We're going to go on to track 2. This is Monster F. I've talked in the past about how there are certain songs that sound better live than they do on the album, or I feel like they're meant to be heard live, and I think that song is one of them. Because I'm sitting here and I'm sort of, lightly bobbing my head to it. I'm like, yeah, this is good. I bet this would be so much better if I heard it live.
Yeah, I think that'd be a case to it. Because even songs that don't exactly have a lot of impact to them on an album, when you hear it with, all the atmosphere and really, all the static and noise coming from the speakers, it really kind of hits you a lot harder than just sitting there and listening to it on your headphones. Actually, a song I would say that is the epitome of that for me is "A Wolf and Man" by Metallica.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the S&M version of it is 10,000 times better than the album version, because the album version of it seems kind of hollow and thin in a certain way. Then when you get the S&M version, it's a whole lot fuller, because I feel like the acoustics of a live album or live concert are a lot different than what you'll find in something that's done in a recording booth.
The other thing I wanted to say about this song was, it's a good track to follow, the first one, because they're immediately changing the tempo of the music. So it was a good signal that it wasn't going to be everything's the same speed the whole album, and everything's going to sort of blend together. That we really got some different and polished songs on this album, and it wasn't just sort of a rush job, or hey, let's make, let's not change or do anything with our sound here. Let's just keep playing the same song for for 10 tracks. As much as I enjoy thrash metal, I like that certain bands, this being one of them, are not afraid to go out and just play rock and roll, play some standard heavy metal, and not be caught up in we have to be, the race to be the fastest was won many years ago by Napalm Death. And there's really no need to continue to do that. I would much rather. It's probably why I stay away from a lot of modern death metal, because I don't need to hear the same song 10 times. Do some different things. Give me some different tempos, different beats here. Don't just keep bombarding me with with the same. We got to go light speed in every song. So that's one of the things I appreciated about that track.
Yeah, I don't find that as much a problem with death metal. Modern death metal is great. Honestly, I feel like I think it's great, but I feel like modern thrash metal has a problem. Because thrash metal is something that's, I'd say it's like the wheel. It's great and it serves its purpose, and I love the wheel. The wheel is amazing. But at the same time, there's a certain point where you won't really need to reinvent it. Unfortunately, it just kind of rolls along. Though I will say, while driving a forklift, fast music is the best thing ever. The other night it was like Ex-Hoarder, Annihilator, and Old School Sodom. I was like, this is the best fucking thing ever. But I'm finding that that a lot of the more classic bands like Anthrax, they do a really good job of holding the torch, but some of the newer bands they're becoming fewer and far between in terms of popularity, because even when you think about the newer wave of the thrash bands like Warbringer and Toxic Holocaust, Evile, those bands are still, hell, they made their debuts 10, 12 years ago. That's actually a pretty long ways back when you consider how fast the musical landscape changes. So it's really interesting. It's going to be interesting to see if we can get any new thrash bands that kind of rise up with them, because hell, these bands are going to be around forever. Well, I don't know. Well, who knows with the way some of these bands are. We might have Slayer featuring Kerry King's Slayer. That's all that's left is fucking Kerry King's bald ass, who claims that what was something he said something that got put in a headline this past week of that more or less just implied that bands like Metallica and Iron Maiden are just living off their fame. They're not putting out real music. I'm like, what have you been writing, Kerry King? Because, I don't know, the last Slayer album I listened to, I was like, I've heard bands do this better last week, actually. So, yeah.
Didn't we actually, we caught, that was when we had guys trolling us. That was a fun show. That was so when's the last time you touched a child? Like, my buddy Nick, I told him that. He goes, I don't know, that first guy was pretty funny. When you're going to blow each other? I'm like, it just wasn't as well set up. You could tell it was a joke. But yeah, on thrash, the band I was touting as we were about to go on air, Midnight, they are fucking awesome. They're like Venom incarnate. Mm-hmm. Well, you brought up an interesting question. Let's go ahead and listen to the next track here, and then we'll come back to, are certain styles of music passe and are going to go the way of the dodo, or, will they live on forever? Because there's always going to be another kid in another band that listens to this kind of music and says, oh, I want to do that. So we can kick that around a little bit. But let's hear some more music. This is the title track, For All Kings.
For all kings committed, for all kings old and new, young blood of the old blood, for all kings are
that song, I was reading a little bit about the album and about how they put it together and everything. And one of these things, they're saying that when they say For All Kings, I'm talking about how anyone can be a king, and that doesn't mean that you have some power over other people, but more of you are a king of your own life. You are a master of your own destiny. So that's what that song is about. And okay, kind of reminds me of Indians, from way back in the day. I don't know if you heard that at all, but I remember when I heard that, in my head I just kept going, "Cry for the Indians." So there's something about that song that reminds me of it.
I don't hear Indian. But message-wise, I can see it. Because yes, you are a master of your own domain unless you have government money. Which is ironic, since I think everybody knows the government money in one way or the other. but I would say this song is I was just going to make that joke once. I know this isn't quite the right hook. Because quite frankly, I punch like a girl. Yeah, I think this is actually a pretty good song. It definitely starts with the yelling of For All Kings committed. You'll wake your ass up. You weren't paying attention. Now you are. And it was overall, it's a pretty good song, though. It's a nice title track. I always like when a title track is really on point. Because I guess it just makes me feel like that the album is really connected to something of quality.
Yeah, I certainly get frustrated when the title track is one of the weaker songs on the album. That's kind of annoying.
And it's also when there is no title track.
Yeah, that could be frustrating as well too. We were talking a little bit before about how, what will become of thrash metal as the years go on, and I said, here's my thought. I don't think look how long thrash metal's been around. We're talking late 70s, early 80s here, and it's sort of an offshoot of the punk rock movement. I mean, look how long we've had punk rock. Look at all and everything that old is new again. When you think about, let's go back even further. Let's think about, the acid rock era, and then before that, you've got the, you've got the early, the early shades of rock and roll, and what would eventually, evolve into heavy metal. A lot of that style of music is still around today. A lot of bands still incorporate a lot of those sounds. And if you go back even further, Jesus Christ, we at one point had a what the hell was it? I think it was Chris Isaac and the Squirrel Nut Zippers. We had a big band thing for a while. I think it just depends on the people out there, and and what they're into, and what happens to catch the public's ear and eye at that moment. So I don't know if thrash will ever go away as such. I think at the very least you'll continue to have fans of the music. I don't think there's anything that's ever going to go away in the human psyche that says, I don't want to hear heavy, fast music. Whether or not people are still creating it, I don't see why not. Nature abhors a vacuum, and there'll always be some industrious, group of kids out there who, if they don't see any new people putting out thrash music, will go out and do it themselves.
Yeah, well, I never thought that thrash music would go away. I was just thinking more bands that are just inherently just thrash metal, not death thrash or blackened thrash or, fucking progressive thrash, which is, I've heard of progressive thrash metal band, and that was really cool. But actually, I don't think I've ever heard anyone that makes doom and thrash. Get on that, people. But yeah, I don't think it's ever going to be I don't ever think it's going to truly go away. I mean, fast music is just inherently exciting to the human emotional spectrum, don't you know? Yeah, I don't think it's really going to go anywhere. I'm saying popularity-wise, it just seems like those bands really aren't making the impact that they once were. It's heck, actually, most of the metal bands I see, like the big tours, are either like power metal or death metal. A lot of death metal, which I'm not complaining.
I think here's the question. You look at the last, say, 10 years, right? Who's been out there on tour? The Rolling Stones have toured, right? And the Rolling Stones have been around since the 60s. Black Sabbath has toured with Ozzy. You've had some various incarnations of Led Zeppelin that have been out there. All bands from like the late 60s, early 70s. Aerosmith is still out there doing their thing. So think about how many more years we potentially will have Metallica, who started in the early 80s. Slayer, early 80s. Anthrax, early 80s. It's 2015. So we're talking 35 years, give or take, that these bands have been around. And they're still out there touring. I mean, fucking Testament just put out a new album not that long ago and is on tour with Slayer. So just imagine another maybe 20 years out of all these bands, what like Metallica is going to look like. I mean, look at what the Rolling Stones look like now. These geriatrics up there doing their thing. Fucking
Keith Richards,
what's his
like
face?
A vampire.
Keith Richards, mostly made of cocaine at this point, but still going.
Well, every time somebody dies, me and Nick text one another. Oh, Ozzy outlived another one.
Yeah. On the other hand, we just lost Lemmy from Motorhead in the beginning of the year.
Well, he's been open since the 60s.
Yeah. There you go. All right.
Yeah, I mean,
let's go ahead.
I was gonna say a diet of Jack and Coke and Speedball mixed with diabetes don't exactly mix.
You know what though? He lived his life, and he lived a full life. I mean, how many of us get to do what we really want to do for as many decades as he did it on our own terms? I mean, you know, really, who told Lemmy what to do? So
Lemmy.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Let's go ahead and hear the first single from this album. It was a second single, rather. It was released on January 7th, 2016. This is Breathing Lightning. Somebody also criticized, might have been Kerry King from Slayer. Maybe I'm confusing things, but I feel like Anthrax got picked on for trying to put out music that was a little bit more palatable to the mainstream. And I bring that up now because Breathing Lightning could absolutely get played on the radio. In fact, if I didn't know that was an Anthrax song, I wouldn't have guessed it. That doesn't say that it's bad. It's actually one of my favorite songs on the album. But it's a little Van Halen-y. It's a little hard rock.
Soft. It's a little soft, yeah. It's a little soft.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not quite Anthrax. That's not a bad thing. Again, I don't mind that they're sort of driving all over the map here. It's and the next one is definitely more back on point. But I really like the song. It's just I could see somebody like a Kerry King or somebody who never gets anything on the radio ever being like, "Bah, Anthrax, what are you sellouts with your crazy singles there? Your palatable radio-friendly music. Get the fuck out of here." I could absolutely see someone's reaction to that song.
Yeah. I mean, Kerry King hates everything, not Kerry King. So to be fair.
Fair enough.
Yeah, but this is definitely one of the more palatable, quote-unquote, mainstream songs on the album. I could see this being played on the rock radio, and it would go over pretty well. But like you said, it's not a bad thing. I don't feel like necessarily you can't have Song has radio friendly on your album. As long as the album kicks ass, it shouldn't be a problem. Or as long as the album's good and they don't talk about it like it's the greatest thing ever. Black. That had some really good radio.
Yeah, one or two songs. I said, yeah, sure, one or two songs.
Yeah. You know, they play what they're doing every once in a while. But,
sure.
Yeah, I think I heard it at a stadium once.
Yeah, no. I think I may have heard Enter Sandman late at night on a radio station here or there.
Yeah, actually, funny thing, a friend of mine called me at work. He's like, dude, there's a station down here in Raleigh that has 2 nights a week they play like a metal block. He said the guys that run it sound like total amateurs, but they play some really cool shit. I told him I'm really jealous, considering we have one good modern rock station that like got changed from an alternative to at least playing deep cuts by Metallica. Because, you know, when you play King Nothing in 2015, that's pretty impressive. Yeah, but that's about as good as we get over here. Everything else is like a country station or a hip-hop station or a pop station. But,
do you realize the Black Album came out in 1991?
You realize I came out in 1991?
You're as old as the Black Album, sir.
I know, and unfortunately I have neither made as many hits, nor have I made as much of a cultural impact as the Black Album. Son of a bitch.
No. You have never accompanied a wrestler to a ring as he smashes himself on the head with beer cans either.
I really feel like I should. So, just side note, I have to say that instrumental version of Enter Sandman that they had on the One Night Stand 05 DVD, pretty damn good.
Oh,
like that alternate.
You haven't lived until you've heard the Rockabye Baby version of Enter Sandman.
Oh God.
Do you know about the Rockabye Baby series? Do you know anything about that Rockabye Baby series, or there's a whole now subgenre of music that basically takes modern music and replaces it with like xylophones and crickets, and it's meant for babies to sleep at night?
I personally cannot wait for Rockabye Baby Mayhem Edition.
Considering what's out there, like they have Rockabye Baby Kanye West and Rockabye Baby Eminem and Rockabye, and everything metal and rock and roll that you can think of. I want to say this is a Rockabye Baby Slayer. If not, there's another.
There is.
I know that there's a couple of different companies that do it. So if it wasn't done by one, it's definitely been done by another.
Well, we need a holy trinity of things your children couldn't listen to. Okay, Holy Rhombus, who am I kidding? Napalm Death, Mayhem, Cannibal Corpse, and then Anal Cunt.
My daughter grew up on the Rockabye Baby stuff. I used to sit in her room and rock her, and I used to love that. I mean, I used to find it soothing. When we had Jonas was a different kind of sleeper. So, sitting and rocking him and listening to music wasn't happening. That kid didn't want to be held, didn't want nothing. He was give me a bottle and leave me the fuck alone. Which I think is a great introduction to our next track. This is Suzerain, track 5.
Everything was
It's actually one of my other favorite songs on the album. As I was cleaning up the house today, moving furniture, sweeping, vacuuming, picking up toys, that old thing. I was listening to that song, and that one got me. I was getting kind of tired, and that song pumped me back up again. I was. Whenever I hear a song that really gets me going, I'll usually Shazam it and post it on the Facebook, with my hashtag, this is the jam, because I'm, 106 years old, folks. But this is the jam. Listen to me. In any case, yeah, I was going to post that on Facebook today going, oh, this is the song right here. This is a good one. And it is. A lot of changes, lots of interesting things going on in the song. Enjoy the drumming, especially when it gets really fast. So, suzerain, I like it a lot.
What is a suzerain?
I don't know. Let's look that up. Suzerain. Okay.
Suzerain.
A sovereign or state having some control over another state that is internally autonomous. Historically, a feudal overlord.
Huh. I just thought they were just fucking making stuff up.
No, they're being all smarty-odd with it.
That's because Scotty and the spoken word.
What did you think of feudal lord? That's what we're gonna call this song, because I don't want to call it suzerain anymore.
Why? Because it makes you think of Phil Collins.
Studio.
Yep. Suzerain.
Get on with it.
I thought this was actually a surprise because this sound was heavy as hell. Jesus Christ, it was like a single girl who didn't have a Tom Dick. No. Oh, that was mean. Oh no, Jesse posted lullaby versus the night vision. Crapping suddenly. Oh,
other company. I tended to favor the Rockabye Baby, but yes, the other company that did them, and there's a couple, but the other big one was Twinkle Twinkle Little Rockstar, and they did a lot of the ones that Rockabye Baby didn't get to. I'm telling you, there's definitely a version of Slayer out there.
Oh yeah, Slayer.
The
I
Bon
really
Jovi
think you should have a.
The Bon Jovi one's really good. The Bon Jovi one's really good. The Leopard one's really good. The Journey one, I used to sit in Lily's room and listen to the Journey one on repeat. Guns N' Roses was pretty good, but like I said, the Metallica one is just creepy as fuck.
Yeah, I'm trying to think what would be the word. Mr. Bungle.
That's the problem. You have to listen to these because Mr. Bungle plays with a lot of sound and makes weird noises and everything, and that's like half that's half of these Rockabye Baby type albums is, they replace guitars with crickets and shit. They might as well be a Mr. Bungle album.
Oh God! Could you imagine if they played "Frantic" off of Saint Anger, like Rockabye Baby style?
Yeah, well, they don't exactly. I mean, this is supposed to be soothing music for infants, for fuck's sake. It's not supposed to be, scare the shit out of a kid.
I don't know, Frantic, tick, 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 tock. That really gets my children.
The problem is they would have replaced it with an actual clock.
That's actually genius. Really, really, really funny. As for Susan, it's a pretty cool song. I enjoy it. It's actually an outlier on this album because it's pretty heavy, whereas the rest of this album it's like standard heavy metal heavy. If that makes sense. Like it's standard fare in terms of heaviness. So this song here is something that I find much heavier, even though that there's like a section in the middle where I was like, that's kind of breakdowny. a little breakdown in it.
Little hate breedy, little breakdowny.
A little hate breedy. I really felt like I needed to go run.
Okay. This is our next track was the first single released October 26, 2015. There's a video out for it and everything else. This is Evil Twin. So, yeah, that takes us right back to old school Anthrax right there.
Oh, yeah. This is 137% old school Anthrax. It honestly reminds me of some of the stuff off Persistence of Time. Actually, yeah. This song is very much off Persistence of Time. I think because a lot of it had that sort of, I think a lot of the guitar parts had that cadence to it. Maybe that's what I'm getting from it. But, yeah, I really like the song. It's a pretty awesome song. I dig it. It's in my head, and I'm annoyed.
Scott Ian talked about what that song was about. They brought up the idea that I guess it came out of the terrorist attacks in France. Here, I'll read it. According to Charlie Benant, Evil Twin was inspired by events like the 2015 attack on the offices and staff of the French satirical publication Charlie Hebdo and various other mass shootings. Scott Ian, who wrote the lyrics, added that it was about the actions of people who, quote, feel like they become judge, jury, and executioner over their fellow man, calling this mindset the evil twin of humanity. Okay, I'm of two minds about this. One, look, whatever inspires you to go out and create art, I have no judgment. Go out and do it, as long as you're not hurting another human being. Like if you're inspired to do Piss Christ, then by all means do Piss Christ. Whatever. If you're inspired by, terrorist attacks to go out and create thrash metal, by all means do it. I'll probably enjoy it. I certainly did in this case. Here's my thing. That's like I said, I'm of two minds of this, and that's one mind. The other mind is when Scott Ian and Charlie Benant and all these guys get together and they record this album, do they think they're doing anything? Do they think they're accomplishing something in terms of guiding the public conversation or helping to turn back, the hands of violence that they're trying to, they're even talking about in their song? Do they think they're helping in any way? Or do they just go, well, I was inspired and I created art and the art is out there now for people to enjoy and that's the end of it? I'm curious about that because I would say they're not helping. I would say the existence of the song is neither here nor there in the grand scheme of things. I think, you think about like protest music back in the 60s, and talking about the Vietnam War and everything, there was some degree of an effect on the politics of this country, but not a lot. Certainly not the kind that they thought that they had. And now in 2016, if there's none. But I get curious. I'm curious to see if people who live in the bubble of their own fandom, their own celebrity, think they're actually helping in any kind of way.
I get what you're saying. I guess they're probably trying to create something that they feel like could, I guess, change somebody's outlook on things. But at the same time, I look at songs like this the same way I look at Threat is Real and totally about Syrian refugees. I'm like, I don't agree with you at all. It must stay, but it's your fucking music. I like it. I don't fucking care for the most part. Because, I mean, as long as you can attach, I feel like, good music to the whatever message you're peddling, I mean, I'm sure you could find if somebody put the instrumentation to that Midnight album I've been talking about, to songs about fucking bears, I'd be okay with it. Because I'm like, I mean, it's about fucking bears, but, it gets me rocking. Actually, that album has there's a song off that album that I was just totally like, are you fucking kidding me right now? Hold on, it's absolutely hilarious because, I'm not usually one for songs that are really sleazy. Like, that's not quite my thing. But I was just fucking cackling because, yes, I was at work listening to this out loud. And I was like, oh, shit. It was called Lust, Filth, and Sleaze. And what was... Yeah, it has things like the sound of seed as it seeps from your slit, the only gash I'll ever need. Oh, you give me lust, you give me sleaze, I'm going to bust when you're down on your knees. I was like, oh, shit. I'm listening to this at work. All right, so
two things. Speaking of which, there's a new Steel Panther album out. It's actually a live album. Which I haven't listened to it yet, but it's on the list. I didn't quite get to it today while I was cleaning. But, yeah, anyone who heard our review of the last Steel Panther album knows I love me some Steel Panther. So I'll be curious to see what their live album sounds like. The other thing is, I don't know if you watch The Muppets at all. I've heard mixed reviews on it. I watched it all season. I thought it was funny. But apparently as I'm getting older, I'm laughing at things a lot more. I also think the new Ghostbusters trailer looked good. So apparently my judgment is right out the fucking window. It's a good thing I do a bunch of podcasts reviewing different things. I just gave a thumbs up. In any case, getting dumber as I get older. But yeah, I think the Muppets are funny. I thought the show was funny. I laughed at least a couple times every episode for the most part. And the point that I'm getting to is, without getting into the whole plot of it, because I don't want to get sidetracked, but there's a character in the Muppets called Bobo the Bear, and he's talking to Kermit about the fact that the cast members were allowed to bring family to work, and they brought, and because Kermit put +11 instead of +1, it was overcrowded. And Bobo said, "Do I have permission to maul the next person who asks me if I'm the bear from The Revenant?" And it's funny, right? And I was like, and I'm folding laundry, and I'm putting stuff away, and I'm trying to make sure my son doesn't fucking dive off the bed onto his head. And I heard him say that, and I had to stop for a minute because I was laughing so hard. That struck my funny bone.
See, me and my friends cackle shit like that, but what we do is we attach our friends' drunk uncles on wrestling things we're watching. So we took the Japanese wrestler who is called the King of Darkness, Evil. And every time I hear his name, I do the Mermaid Man thing where I go, Evil! Just it's funny. But he comes out in what is really cool looking in the darkness, but once you turn it on the light, you go, this is low rent as fuck. It's the robe is silky looking, but I'm like, it still looks pretty cheap. And he has this glove with the laser fingers on it. It's like a really high-powered laser. And then he's got this big-ass metal size, big-ass plastic size. Like, what the fuck's he going to do with that? But then we imagine that our friend's drunk uncle named Barry was in it. And my friend Nick actually he offended one of his professors with that. Because the day before he was laughing about a story where one of our friends was mooning people in high school. He was mooning people in a moving car, and the guy driving just kept honking at everybody so they'd look. But he was fucking dying laughing. And then the professor's like, what's so funny? So he told the professor that story in the middle of class after the professor just absolutely implored that he do so. But then the next day she was like, I don't think you were having content that was very befitting of a master's student. And then he started laughing again. She didn't ask what it was this time, but it was laughing at the King of Darkness, Barry. Because we're just like imagining him, you come on, get your ass over here. I'm going to get you. You married the wrong shit, then. Because like every time we go to the Christmas party, his ass is drunk and like being weird, and it's amazing. He's got like this fucking shit-eating redneck grin the entire time. Just imagining that and that cheap-ass get-up just makes my day.
All right.
Now back to metal, right?
Let's get back on track here. This is track 7, Blood Eagle Wings. There's a brief little pause in there for no apparent reason. I'm like running. I walked away from the computer to clean something up, and all of a sudden I hear nothing. I'm like, oh God, I've been kicked off the show again. But no, just silence for no good reason. Did you hear nothing too, or is that just my computer?
I didn't really hear anything drop out, but
okay,
I don't
maybe
really.
It's my computer.
Your computer revolting.
Sir, the people are revolting. You're right, they stink on ice. So occasionally, like as a joke, I'll stop a song. Like if I hear the beginning of something, I'll just stop it and I'll start singing whatever it is that reminds me of. And for whatever reason, I don't. It just that first opening couple of notes, I didn't do it because it caught me off guard. And I couldn't quite remember the lyrics of the song that it reminded me of. But as I was cleaning some things up and walking around, I'm like, okay, I got it now. It's a little too late to stop the song. But yeah, those first opening notes, I just wanted to stop it and yell, Jeremiah was a bullfrog. I don't. That's what that reminded me of. Jeremiah was a bullfrog.
I admit I don't quite see the resemblance of Blood Eagle and no, I'm good. Oh, now you're gonna do it, aren't you?
Jeremiah was the bullfrog.
Oh, Jesus Christ! We're on the same wavelength. This is a problem.
Do you hear it now?
Yes, I hear fucking Jeremiah was a bullfrog. Oh, man, this is...
Jeremiah... Okay, so two things.
This is worse than...
Hang on. I just did that whole thing, miming playing the piano. Once again, we're in audio format. So no one saw me do it. But I can't stop talking with my hands, so I mimed playing the piano just now. Two, I understand who originally did Jeremiah was a bullfrog and what the original song is, but whenever I hear it now, all I hear is David Alan Grier. Have you ever seen this?
No.
The comedian David Alan Grier, who plays a character in the movie Amazon Women on the Moon, which is a sketch comedy movie. It's a series of sketches, one right after the other, and he plays a character. He's in a couple of sketches with the same character called Don No Soul Simmons. Don No Soul Simmons is the funniest thing I've ever seen. It's basically David Alan Grier is the whitest black man in America, and and it starts off where I think it's like B.B. King who is doing a PSA for blacks with no soul. And he's an example of a black person with no soul. And then later on in the movie, they're selling, there's commercials for his albums because he becomes a sensation. Don No Soul Simmons sings this, that, and the other thing or whatever. And then at one point, they have him singing Jeremiah was a bullfrog. He's playing it on like an electric piano, and he just turns to the camera, and you know what David Alan Grier looks like. And he just has this goofy smile. It's so funny. When we're done with this show, go on YouTube and go look up Don No Soul Simmons.
Don No Soul Simmons.
All right, well, do that. You go listen to Don No Soul Simmons and get back to me. I'm going to go ahead and play track 8. This is Defend Avenge. catch up here. And no more talk. Did you actually watch the video, by the way?
Jeremiah was a bullfrog. Dude, yep.
Yeah.
I feel like that's the best bonus album you can get. You know, nothing.
How funny is David Attenborough's face when he sings that song?
Oh, he's just got this like cheesy, shit-eating white people grin. Because watching that, I'm like, that is totally how white people sing.
He's so happy. Anyway, if the people from Anthrax, they're like A&R people or whatever, get a hold of this podcast, I'm sure they'll be happy to know that we compared one of their songs to fucking Don Nosal Simmons.
That's just that amuses me so much. I wonder sometimes if the artist ever finds our podcast, because Thrawsome Blood's, I think, the only band that's found it and agreed. But some of our ones, like Children of Bodom, which was like, all right, or Black Sabbath, which boiled down to, what do you think, Mark? I don't know. I stopped after the third song. Even though I will say, the song Loner, you have forever tarnished it in my mind, because every time I hear this dun 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 dun, and then in my head it stops just like you did on the podcast. I went, oh yeah, just over and over. Like I can't help but just go, oh yeah. I'm like, damn it, Mark. Just like every time I hear somebody who's talking about their grandma, all I can remember is you doing fucking King Diamond.
I'd like to think that I'm adding to the culture with my variety of podcasts. Okay, we got to move this along. We have about 30 minutes left, and I no longer trust Blog Talk Radio to allow any kind of sufficient overrun. So I'm trying to end at about the 2-hour mark with any, or less, with anything that we're doing here. So unless you have any burning desires, let's get on to track 9 here. Let me quick say. Blood Eagle Wings was a fine song. It was, perfectly okay. Unfortunately, we got on that Don Nosal Simmons rant there. Defensive end picks up the pace again. Good heavy song. Proper Anthrax sound. Really nothing more to add to it. Rob, unless you have any burning desires there for either one of those, let's get on to track 9.
They're both pretty killer, though. I really dug them.
All right. This is All Them Thieves. So that's a good song. I don't think there was anything special about it. It fits well on the album, pretty heavy. Good range there from Joey Belladonna. I don't really have much to add beyond that.
Yeah, this was one of those kind of a song parts of the song. I would say, like, towards its back half, it did kind of peter out to a degree. Like, you didn't get as many memorable and epic songs. But let's see, for All of Them Thieves, I think it actually got better towards the end, if I'm not mistaken. Because there was one song on here I was just like, this is actually kind of monotonous. And then like halfway through, it really sped up, and I'm like, oh, okay. Continue.
Oh, well. All right, this is track 10. This battle shows up. This is going to sound a little strange, but I was listening to the beginning of that song, and it reminded me of one of those tracks from the cartoon version of Transformers the movie. Like, I was like, oh, this sounds a little lionish. You know, I'm just picturing Cup and Hot Rod driving in circles, smashing Sharkticons. How
dude, actually, you know what? You just find me something I need to go look for on DVD. Good job, Mark.
All right. That's an odd reference.
Well, Transformers the movie, actually, that was a really good one, and they released a great 20th anniversary DVD of it that had 2 commentaries, but it's now out of print. Which is a real shame. It's pretty cool. But yeah, mentally. By the way, this was the song where I was just like, all right. Like, it kind of went with that very simplistic guitar to it for about 60% of the song, and then it picked towards the end, and okay, they're forgiven.
Agreed. All right. I'm going to start to wind things down here. This is our last track of the night. This is track 11, Zero Time.
Truth of humanity, far from insane. Its focus is cruel, its heartbreaking pain. As if I needed more reason to hate. A savage decision, it's not hard to make. Family and friends dare to threaten with mine. Kill motherfuckers for crossing the line. Fighting the news about my life and I choose murder and
strong ending to the album, I thought. Sometimes we would listen to these albums, that last track sort of falls off a cliff. This one left you wanting more, I thought. I thought it took it right back to what Anthrax does best. And, that they could have placed that track anywhere in this album. They placed it at the end. And I thought, it left you reminding you of what Anthrax does. So, overall, I enjoyed this album. I would give it, 3 out of 4 stars, 4 out of 5 stars. Metacritic gave it a 70 out of 100. AllMusic gave it 3.5 out of 5. Classic Rock gave it a 7 out of 10. Consequence of Sound gave it a C. That's the lowest score that of all these that I'm looking at. But Guardian gave it 4 out of 5. Loudwire rated it favorable. Pop Matters was, I believe, 7 out of 10. Record Collector is 3 out of 5. And Sputnik Music, Sputnik, 3.8 out of 5. And I think that right there sums up this album. It is an average to good album. Overall, it is a reminder of what Anthrax, again, does best. And it's a good showcase for Joey Belladonna's vocals. And overall, I was happy with it. I don't think this is one of those ones where I would necessarily trip over myself to run out and buy it. But I liked, being able to hear it on Apple Music.
Nice little plug there for Apple Music at the end. Good job. Good job.
I'm hoping maybe they'll throw me some money.
Yeah, don't let it hail too hard on you. But I would give this album probably. I think I'd probably give it a 5. There's some real strong tracks on it. It's got a real nice old school Anthrax sound. It is exactly what's on the tin. It is Anthrax. It sounds like, and it's now my definitely revisit. I wouldn't say it was the earth-shattering earworm that was worship music, but I felt like one of those career Anthrax. Lucky enough to have more than one of. So overall, just still a great continuation of Form by Anthrax, and I really hope I get to catch them live sometime on the tour for this album.
Are they playing anywhere near you?
I don't know. I'm sure they will. They always need to come around here. The unfortunate part is, like I've told you before, they closed 2 of the 3 smaller metal venues. I mean, we still have the what do you call it, the Fillmore, but we don't have 2 of the smaller ones that would host bands like Anthrax or Testament. Those bands that aren't going to fill up the fucking Fillmore, like Amon Amarth or Nightwish.
Well, I'll tell you what, I got the tour dates pulled up right now. Let's see. Right now, it's looking like they're doing Europe. No, they're doing South America for throughout March. They're with Megadeth in Puerto Rico in April. They're at the Fort Rock Festival in Fort Myers, and then Welcome to Rockville in Jacksonville. They will be appearing at Carolina Rebellion.
Oh, May 7th. I forgot about Carolina Rebellion. Yeah, I still need to put in those dates at work, don't I? Because, darn it, if anything, I have to see Baby Metal on, I finally need to see them on that Sunday. If I only go for one day, it has to be Sunday, because that's one of, the 6 Baby Metal tour dates for the year.
So, oh God, the Saturday one looks really good too. It's got Clutch on it.
Oh yeah, it's got Clutch, and it's like I've been looking at that nice little rectangle of metal with Lamb of God, Megadeth, Anthrax, and Ghost.
Okay, so it doesn't look like Anthrax is playing on the same day as Baby Metal.
No, they're playing on Saturday. It's I think when Anthrax are playing.
Skip Friday. Fuck Friday. Go Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah, I've been looking at that. I was like, hey, Nick, want to go? And my buddy Nick looked at me and said, I'm not going to that fucking bro fest for anything. Because it is bro fest. Like, I'm surprised Hatebreed and Five Finger Death Punch aren't headlining with the amount of testosterone and tribal tattoos. Oh, no, there you go. Testosterone, tribal tattoos, and tap out.
Well, before this conversation gets out of hand, any last words about Anthrax for All Kings? If not, we're going to get into plugs.
I give it 4 out of 5 Anthrax tattoos.
Okay. All right. So next week we have a special Tuesday show. I don't know how often we're going to do it. Honestly, it was sort of an excuse to get my wife on here. We're calling it the what is it? What did I call it? The something washboard of jubilation. What did I call it, Rob?
I want to say you called it the country washboard of jubilation?
Yeah,
I was fucking laughing my ass off because I couldn't believe you went with a name that goofy.
Well, we're the Metal Hammer of Doom, and my wife and I, we are the country jubilation. We are the country washboard of jubilation. I went through a lot of iterations of how can I be opposite Metal Hammer of Doom. Basically, Sister Hazel put out a new album. My wife's a huge fan. She went, hey, they went full country on this one. You should give it a listen because I know you like good, authentic country albums. They actually have like Darius Rucker on it and all this. And, yeah, Darius Rucker's country stuff is good. I'm not a huge fan of Hootie and the Blowfish, by the way, but his actual full-on country album is not bad. Dude, like country music. I know you don't, but I do. So she said, would you give it a listen? I said, well, I'll tell you what, I'll make you a deal. I'll give it a listen if you'll review it with me. And thus the country washboard of jubilation was born. So 9 o'clock, Tuesday, March 8th, my wife and I are going to review the new Sister Hazel album. That ought to be a fun time. Robert Winfrey and I are back reviewing movies. We'll be reviewing London Has Fallen. And you might be asking yourself, is this my beautiful house? You might also be asking yourself, why are we reviewing London Has Fallen instead of Zootopia, which would be more our bag? And it came down to this. I'm working this entire weekend, and I work 12-hour days, and my daughter is usually a pumpkin by 9 p.m. So there was absolutely no opportunity for me to take her to go see Zootopia. And I'm not going to go to the fucking movies and not bring my kid to go see that. So we decided that we would review London Has Fallen instead, and we'll put off Zootopia until the following week because it's not like anything is coming out the week after that anyway. That's any good. That brings us to March 10th, which is our annual cover show. Robert Cooper, are you excited for this? This is our Army. This is the one that we've been talking about for a year now. Covers 3, Army versus Navy. Can you dig it, sucker?
I'm so excited, though I'm disappointed in us not including a Children of Bodom cover once I went and looked back and looked at how many covers they have. I mean, geez. I almost wish they would cover more of Eddie Murphy's discography just for my sake.
Didn't you say you were going to add something to it, and then did you decide against that when you realized how many freaking songs we had prepared for this?
Well, I had mentioned the cover of Danger Zone, and you said, yeah, I already had that on the list. And I'm like, oh, really? I didn't see it. And you said, well, it was on my preemptive cutoff list, and then I had to cut it because we had so many songs. Because we have an interesting.
I was gonna say, just get upload it. Who cares? Whatever. We'll end with that one.
Yeah, there we go. Danger Zone. Since mine is all like metal bands doing different genres, and yours is all, fuck it, we're gonna do Phil Collins. So I'm trying to remember. Did we ever play Sunglasses at Night by Corey? The cover of Sunglasses at Night by Corey Hart by Arsis?
I don't know. Between now and that show, I got to re-listen to both of our previous shows. I'm pretty sure we're not repeating anything, but because I've tried to keep a list going. In any case, on Tuesday, March 15th, we're going to do a special Metal Hammer of Doom, special Tuesday edition. We're going old school. We used to be on Tuesdays, and then things happened. Lots of things.
And then we tried to bring back the Whiskey Rebellion.
Yeah, well, like I said, all the things happened, and we ended up landing on Thursday, which is fine because it gives me more time on the long road to Ruin weeks to finish watching movies, especially now that my schedule is what it is. But we're going to do a special. Basically, I have planned out every show that we're doing pretty much from now till June. And just because of Batman vs. Superman and some other stuff that's happening, a lot of stuff that we are planning to cover got pushed off weeks past when they're coming out. So, for example, Killswitch Engage Incarnate comes out on March 11th, but we're not going to get to it until I think like April or May, unfortunately. So with that being said, Robert Cooper here has been very patient with me as I've pretty much planned out the schedule and just told him what we're doing. And he said, "Hey, can I pick an album every once in a while?" And I said, "Sure, friend." So we're going to do a special Robert Cooper-centered show where he got to pick the album, and he picked the latest Destroyer 666 album, Wildfire. We'll be on our old time, 9:00. Yes, he won't be trying to get Mexicans over the border that night, so we can actually start at a reasonable hour. So check out our special Tuesday show, Metal Hammer of Doom, Destroyer 666, Wildfire. As I said before, March 16th, we'll be reviewing Zootopia, and Long Road to Ruin will be celebrating Disney animation by looking at DreamWorks. We'll be looking at the Madagascar trilogy. The Daredevil Season 2 Netflix series drops on Friday, March 18th. We're going to review it, all of it, just like we did Full House and Jessica Jones. We're going to review the whole kit and caboodle on March 23rd. So Daredevil Season 2, Robert Winfrey and I are going to knock out all of Daredevil Season 2. March 24th, we'll be doing a special In Defense of Man of Steel podcast, myself and Robert Winfrey. We're going to tell you why Man of Steel is not the horrible direct you think it is. And then after all our good work, Gavin's going to come on the 25th with Pat Mullen, and he's going to give you the case against Man of Steel, because we're nothing if not fair on this network. And for those of you keeping track, the new Amon Amarth also comes out on the same day as Batman v Superman. So go to the record store, buy the new Amon Amarth, and then go see the movie. It'll be fantastic. We'll be reviewing Batman vs. Superman on the 30th, and in celebration of that, Long Road to Ruin will be doing the animated Dark Knight Returns. The new Baby Metal comes out April 1st. We'll be reviewing it on the 7th of April, and then the following week we'll be reviewing the new Amon Amarth. On the 20th, we'll be reviewing the Jungle Book, the live-action Jungle Book movie, and then Long Road to Ruin will be starting the Hunger Games. And the following week, we will finally get around to April 28th. We'll finally get around to reviewing the new Killswitch Engage. So that's enough for now. I've rattled off, enough of the schedule as I need to. Couple of albums we'll be looking at over the summer. The new Al Jorgensen project, Surgical Meth Machine. It comes out April 15th. We'll get to it over the summer. The new Rob Zombie comes out on the 29th of April. Again, we'll get to it in I think, May is when I have it scheduled. So, look for those. Where we got a lot of shows coming up. In the month of May, actually, we'll also be doing a 2-part Motorhead retrospective because we didn't get to it when he actually died, unfortunately. So we got a lot going on here. Got a lot of good albums to cover. Hope you'll be listening. Mr. Cooper, are you ever going to be doing your Hentai Sentai Frentai Have to Go Fun Time podcast?
I'm actually caught up on a show, so me and Hunter can totally do that. And the funny thing is that I posted on the our Facebook page, which is facebook.com/SentaiRiderPodcast. That is SENTAIRIDR podcast. I was like, oh shit, we got like 213 likes. That's like last time we posted an episode, we had like 40. or 60. So what would you guys like to see? Got nothing. So I was like, all right, good. We'll just do what we planned on anyways. Yeah, I've got spring break next week. Maybe we could pop out a few episodes. Who knows? You know. Then we'll be set. We could release an episode every 3 months and then be on track.
Well, if you can get something if you can get something together for tomorrow. Tomorrow's free on the schedule. We've got nothing going on. As a matter of fact, it's gonna be a little too soon.
Yeah, it's a little too soon.
Saturday's open as well. The schedule is sort of in flux right now. We brought on the Every Joe podcast, and then we got a couple of shows out of that, and then he went on the road. Mr. Brodigan did. So we're not sure when the next Every Joe is going to drop. Robert Winfrey has gone on hiatus from doing Everybody Loves a Bad Guy. So that show. So there went that show. The Swimming Boy podcast is eventually coming back, but right now that's on hiatus because Ronnie Adams just bought a house. So we've got all of these shows. I swear to God, I feel like this is summer at a television network. I've got all these shows on hiatus, and I had nothing because we didn't plan for this. Nothing to throw in there. So I'm reduced to stealing from the Capitol Heroes, periodically. Only when
to make this a true network. They are our syndication.
Yeah. It's true. I syndicate other people's podcasts. It's fine. But then they got to make them for me to steal them, or syndicate them.
Yeah. Well, I'll hopefully in maybe in the next few weeks have a few out because Hunter and I are going to do something different this time. I'm going to let him record it and edit it because he has a lot more expendable time than I do, and then he'll send it to me and I'll finalize it and post it. But speaking of things I need to be on, I need to talk to Jesse because we're totally going to do some source material stuff after Super Bowl ended, and that was a month ago. So the two of us need to get talking because Amon and Mars brings up a good point because their new album is called Yam's Vikings. And funny enough, that characters in the manga that we will be reviewing, Vinland Saga, were part of the Yam's Vikings. So there you go. Nice little connection there. So we need to talk to one Mr. Jesse Starch about us recording a Vinland Saga podcast. And there's about 3 different manga that we have talked about reviewing. And, well, it's a lot bigger of a dedication than what he usually has to stick with you because usually he'll do I think 6 issues for a storyline. I'm asking him this is only 70 or 50, 60. It doesn't feel like it's nearly as bad when I compare it to a book like Dragon Ball or Naruto or One Piece. That's 700 chapters. 70 that's not bad. But I'll have to talk to Jesse about getting that recorded and all that shit. And then finally, my buddy Sean Garmer, he said his Wrestling to the Max podcast at Spreaker.com/RT. I think it's a WTN network now. I'm not sure. But the Cooperative Multiplayer podcast, he's changed it now to Gaming to the Max, which is ironic considering we used to call it Co-op Multi. And of course, Coop, because there's no co-op without Coop. Well, I've not been there for a fucking year or something. So, well, shit. I'm I guess I change the name. There is no Coop.
Are your friends still doing the premiere? Is that still a thing?
Kevin told me in July that they were going to do a final episode. They're gonna let me know when they're doing it, so I can if I can get an off or something to go do it. But they never got back to me. So I think at episode 50 they were done because I had I got a job, so I couldn't exactly record every night, and then they wanted to record over their comic shop. So I'm not driving all the way fucking over to do a podcast. So I don't know. I don't know what's going on with any of this stuff. There was like a whole podcasting network that apparently they tried to start, but I've never heard a damn thing about it. Oh well.
All right.
I have like 2 of my own podcasts to worry about, and that's about as many as I can handle with, college and work.
Okay. All right. Check me out. I'm at Mark Radulich, MarkRadulich on Twitter. Mark Radulich, LCSW on Facebook. The Radulich Broadcasting Network has a Facebook page, which is just called the Radulich Broadcasting Network. And we have a YouTube page, which again is just Mark Radulich at YouTube. Go ahead and check that out for all of our content. We upload some of our shows to YouTube. And that's about it. Rob, you're at the Metal Coop on Twitter?
Yep, I'm at the Metal Coop on Twitter. You could, if you want to email me, it's themetalcoop@gmail.com. Yeah, pretty much every thing on social media, I'm at the Metal Coop, except for Facebook, which if you want to find me, I'm not hard to find. I'm the bearded man with a flowery hat and a teacup.
Awesome. All right, folks, it's been a small slice of heaven for Mr. Rob Cooper. This is the Metal Hammer of Doom. Be well, be safe, and behave.
Hey there, it's your friend Ryan Reed with Read and Read. I'll get you right back to your favorite podcast, but quickly, I want you to know if you're injured in a car accident, slip and fall, or through medical malpractice, you can count on Read and Read to be here when you call. You'll speak to me, my wife, or my dad directly on the phone, or you can meet us in person or on Zoom for a free consultation. Visit needread.com today for more information. And remember, with Read and Read, it's like having a lawyer in the family. Needread.com. Offices, Tampa Bay.
Hello, it is Ryan, and we could all use an extra bright spot in our day, couldn't we? Just to make up for things like sitting in traffic, doing the dishes, counting your steps, all the mundane stuff. That is why I'm such a big fan of Chumba Casino. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere with daily bonuses. That should brighten your day a little. Actually, a lot. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com. That's ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.